So I wanted to capture this phenomenon on video. I got a couple of Laserdiscs off of eBay, and the seller notified me that one of the discs wasn't working quite perfectly, Totoro. This is a really important film to me because it was like one of my favorite films when I was a child. Also, the Fox version is the one that I grew up with, and watching the Disney one is almost painful for me because the English dub is so different. But for example, it appears that the disc is slightly warped, so the video looks like crisp and perfect on the beginning, and in fact I'll just play it for you now. We'll start at track 0, and this of course is close to the center of the disc, so any warp that's there will not have much of an effect on playback. Also, this is an old player, so it's probably more susceptible to issues like that. You can see the picture is really very clean. Looks quite nice for a Laserdisc. And I'll probably have to mute this because YouTube will go crazy. But fast forward a bit. So as you can see, everything looks fine near the outer tracks. Now I'll go to track 5, which should be, I guess, around the middle of the disc. And it's taking a little while to find the track, but let's go ahead and press play. So it's still looking pretty good here as well, but as soon as you start getting out to like track 10 or so, I'll go ahead and fast forward to that. The guy who sold it to me reported that there was some noise coming out of the unit on his machine. I don't hear any noise, but I'm certainly starting to see this sort of chopping up near the top and near the middle, and I have a feeling that has to do with the laser optics getting closer and farther away from the disc as it passes over them as the warping goes farther out. So this is side A of the disc, or first side of the disc, and I haven't seen whether or not this is the same problem on the other side. I can actually check that right now. This is an old CLD 3030 from 1988, so it's one side, it's not terribly advanced, and it's possible that other machines might handle this disc better, might handle warping better, but I'll have to look around and see if there is a way to flatten that out. Other than that, I mean, it's just good to have the film that's important to me on a cool format, I guess. The picture on this CLD 3030 is quite soft, but it actually looks okay if you're watching on a CRT, especially if you're watching on a CRT, I'll say. So yeah, here we are near the inside of the disc, and it's looking perfect once again. So I guess if we were to fast forward, and I really hope that YouTube doesn't get me on trying to have a video, so I'll just look for distortions as I move out the chapters. That still looks okay. You can start to see these sort of like deteriorations in horizontal lines there. Yeah, there as well. There they are. So yeah, you can really start to see these as apparent in warping of the disc, so that's kind of a shame, but let's see if I don't know how many tracks there are, but yeah, it's really bad there. So that's kind of a shame. I'll have to see if there is a way. Oh shit, the cat bus. Yeah, it's really weird for me to watch the Disney version of this, because the Fox one is the one I've watched since I was like, 3 or whatever. So there's Totoro. I also do have Akira, which I got from the same seller, from the Criterion Collection. There's a 3-disc enormous set, which is quite cool. Apparently it uses variable frame rates. I don't know if that's on the disc. On the discs, there are 3 of them. But holy crap, this is pretty cool to have, even if it doesn't play well. So I'll be taking a look at that as well. Didn't even notice it, but this is the Totoro disc, and look at that. You can see it even on the camera. Let me move this Akira over. It is obvious what the problem with this disc is. I can't believe I didn't notice that before I put it in. But you can clearly see a bow right there. Maybe not so much on camera, but it is clearly there. So I'll be looking for ways to maybe sort that out, maybe using something hot press, but I have a feeling that Laserdiscs are a lot more delicate than records. It's hard to flatten them out, but I'll look around and see if I can find a way to do that. Anyway, there's a warp Laserdisc and the weird problems that come with such an odd format. here's Akira. It looks good. I mean, it looks like a Laserdisc, but at least these first two discs appear to be flat. There's a little notice that came with the Criterion Collection thing of Akira, and you can pause it if you read it, but if you want to read it. But on the second paragraph, it says Akira was photographed in many different frame rates depending on the complexity and fluidity of motion required for each shot. So apparently, it just skips frames, or does it'll do like 2 frames of action per. Because I guess it normally plays at 24 frames per second, but some things only run at 12, so it just plays 2 per shot. So I wonder if I were to pause it like there, then advance. It seems just to be a mix, and I guess they just did that when they were animating it. I don't know anything about animation, but so like there's 1, there's 2, there's 1. There's another, there's 1, there's another. Yeah, so it looks like this is doing about 12 frames per second right now, but you can really tell when when they start to actually use 24 frames per second, because it just becomes suddenly really, really smooth, and it's an interesting effect. But it's hard to tell on a camera. But anyway, it looks good, it sounds fantastic, and Totoro actually had closed captions on it, which is pretty cool to see. But yeah, there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed. So one interesting thing to note on the end of Akira, it's a 3-disc set. So on the last part of side 5, there's about 10 minutes of the movie left, including the trailers. So there's actually a supplement, and the shakiness is just the TV and the weird way that the Laserdisc sends it. But you can actually step forward with the remote, or with the player, actually go to chapters which show you various things. So that number 33 is the Akira Magna, which they actually point out, and actually that makes sense now, because, hold on, where does it say? Yeah, so it says in the third paragraph, the Japanese term for a comic book or graphic novel is manga, not magna, and is indicated in the supplement. So it looks like they had some sort of issue there with finalizing that. But let's see, we can go to pencil to screen. I looked at 32, so we'll go ahead and go to 32. And so there's actually, you need to step forward as indicated by the bottom right. So actually step. So the following chapter is blah, 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 blah. So you need to press play, so step. So that means go to the next one. So there's some information about Akira, which is pretty cool. But then they're like these page wipes that sort of indicate, or that are supposed to sort of fake looking at a comic book. So I guess this must be actually from the manga, which is quite cool. But one of those features that Laserdisc supports but aren't really used nowadays. Yeah, so these are actually from the manga, which is quite cool. I wonder if it's got the entire thing. What was that, 32? So it's the genesis and execution of... So I wonder if this is the entire thing. That'd be cool if it was. Those page wipes, man. Because I mean, theoretically, but shot by shot, you can store a lot of stills on Laserdiscs, because there's just. I wonder if the entire thing is just scanned on there. It'd be kind of cool if it was. But man, those page wipes. Cool stuff. So that's part of what makes Laserdiscs pretty interesting. I think there's trailers in here. Yeah, so there's the original Japanese trailer. Anyway, that's the original Japanese trailer. You can get that on YouTube, I'm sure. So there's the English release trailer.
is about to explode.
You can fast forward a little bit. Also, I'm sure available on YouTube. There's chapter 32 that we were looking at, 33. The Akira Magna. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so these are those animated parts, I guess just the same thing maybe? Yeah, so that's cool. Anyway, there's all this stuff at the end of the disc. I guess they had to populate it with something to validate the need for 3 entire Laserdiscs in a collection, where the last disc is only about 3 to 5 or 5 to 10 minutes of the film, but that's pretty cool stuff. If it wasn't so shaky, I'd actually sort of want to sit through and read it, but it really is quite weird to look at. You can see more like that. But anyway, there's that. I guess I'm pretty happy to have these Laserdiscs in my collection now, and as I said, I'll be looking to see what I can do about the Totoro disc. Maybe make it flat again, maybe put it under some bunch of records and sort of put it in a window or something. Anyway, there's that. Hope you enjoyed.